From the heartland of America, focused on God, family, and country, the mouthpiece of the Midwest. This is Dale Carter's America.
We're back in the studios in Raytown here of the podcast studio. Good to know that because Raytown got that EF1 tornado, that the studio is still standing.
Yeah. Didn't it go right past the stadium?
Yeah.
I saw something that hit like the parking lot or something.
Yeah. The best view I saw of it was from the Raytown City Hall. I mean, it was like fully formed and all that. So good to know that everything is still standing here. We are brought to you in part by my good friend Bob Watson. And when things go boom with tornadoes and parts of your house go running down the street, that's the guy you need to talk to. He's not some 1-800 number where English is his fifth language. Bob Watson is a guy who's been taking care of people like you and me for 51 years with the best brand name in insurance, State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Bob Watson and get a rate quote. Bundle your car and home insurance and save even more. He's at 7th and Main in Blue Springs, but licensed to both Missouri and Kansas. You can reach him at 816-229-7878. Auto, home, life, commercial insurance. Bob Watson's the guy who's taken care of my family for over 30 years, and he'll step up and take care of your family as well. Okay, so this is Pride Month. I have pride, right? I am very proud of the United States of America and being an American.
'Cause I'm proud to be an American.
Oh my God, he's taken on a new character. Real man wasn't enough. We'll be back with more of that later. But if you're watching on YouTube, as you should be, you can subscribe at YouTube. You can see the stars and stripes and the word freedom on my shirt.
That's right.
If you look at Kurt, it's an old Mix 93.3 t-shirt.
Yep. Uncombed hair. Wrinkled Mix 93 shirt.
Yeah. You know what you're repping today? You're repping like rock and roll disc jockey from the 70s. All you need is like a cigarette, you know, and you'll be good to go.
Cool. I'll get right on that.
I knew guys who look just like you. All you need is the cigarette right there. Yeah. So Pride Month obviously means something else. We were Ed Walker came to me today and he said, "Why didn't I think of this until now?" Because I played a Charlie Pride song today, and I said, "Hey, it's Pride Month. We're going to play Charlie Pride." Right? He's like, "We should have done that. Just done that for the whole month. We'll play a Charlie Pride song every day."
Very clever.
But Pride Month obviously means something else. You know, our friends who like their own sex, I suppose, right?
A little light in the loafers, maybe.
Well, you know, you got to be careful when you say stuff like that. Pride Month at the Pentagon was welcomed by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth by the renaming of the USNS Harvey Milk. Harvey Milk, you may know, was a Board of Supervisors member in San Francisco. He was gay. I think he was assassinated, too, was he not? Do you not know the story?
He was killed in the line of duty, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know his full story.
Yeah. Well, they named a ship after him because, you know, under Democrats, the Defense Department is not about breaking things and killing people when necessary. It's about, we got the whole world in our hands. You know, Meals on Wheels for whatever part of the world you need to be in. And when Republicans take over, especially this Republican, they want to bring back the warrior culture. They're recruiting people to be in the Navy. I mean, you know, if you're a rugged guy and you want to be part of the warrior culture and they assign you to a ship named after a gay rights activist, I mean, one of my friends who, you know, is a little less woke and less aware than I am, said, you know, this particular ship is used to lube the aircraft carriers.
Are you serious?
I'm totally not making that up. It carries oil so they can lube the aircraft carrier.
Oh, goodness.
So it almost makes a lot of sense.
That's a little too on the nose.
but it's going to be renamed. I don't know what they're going to rename it, but we'll see. So
yeah, this Harvey Milk guy, I don't know much about him, but wasn't he like kind of like a questionable guy? Like he had some young partners and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know that much about him. Yeah. I know the story.
I don't know if he's the type of guy we should be naming stuff after.
Well, they did. At least somebody did, and now it's going to be changed. I don't know what it's going to do. And I've, you know me, I like to poke fun where I poke fun. And I saw an ad, and I put up the meme for it on our podcast page. An airline I don't know, Amsterdam. I think that's
Royal Dutch.
Oh, Royal Dutch. Well, it's same deal. And it has 3 different versions of the seatbelt combination with rainbows all over it. And it says no matter how you put on your seatbelt, whether it's, female to female, male to male, or male into female. And I made a joke about it. It's like, this is all well and good, but if you're actually on an airplane, the male needs to go into the female or else you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
You hit bumpy air and you got male to male or female to female. It doesn't work that way. In fact, the flight attendants will come through the plane and they'll make sure that you've done it correctly with the male into the female.
Yeah, you said, first, let me say, as a personal opinion, I couldn't care less about who you couple with. Concerning adults can love whoever they want. Consenting adults, still, this is pretty funny. I think on an airplane, the male needs to be inserted into the female, Pride Month notwithstanding.
Yeah. And some people push back on that. They were kind of offended by it. Come on, let's get over all this stuff. The big Ferris wheel in Kansas City, I drive past that at 2:30 every morning. Oh, it's
the one that nobody goes on?
Exactly. It's flashing the rainbow colors, though. It's got the rainbow colors. We're flying the rainbow flag from the top of City Hall. Some friends of mine who are gay are putting up things like, I hope you're really uncomfortable, heterosexuals, for this entire month. Again, I couldn't care less.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of telling that that's their attitude? Like, their attitude isn't, they just want to stick to themselves and do their thing, live their lives. They want to put it in your face. They want you to, it's not enough for you to, either not approve and not say anything or just stay out of it. You have to participate. You have to be an active supporter of their lifestyle, and there's nothing else like that. They, normal people don't act like that.
Well, when is White Guy Heterosexual Month? We need our own month, damn it. I'm tired of this. I want my own flag, and I want you gay people to be uncomfortable for an entire month while I celebrate being a white heterosexual.
Yeah. Cranky radio host month.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's going to be me. And, I'll even make a face. I got to be careful about that because Key's the clown. Anytime I put up a face, do like that and put it on Facebook, he makes memes out of it. So I got to stop giving him ammunition on that. So there you go. Pride Month. You feel good about it? Yeah, are we good?
Not really, but okay.
I mean, you know where I am on this. I really couldn't care less. Does it really bother you that men love men and women love women?
I mean,
how does it take away from your life?
It doesn't, but it's not ideal. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. There you go. Well, we're not going to leave it at this. We're going to tell you about Midwest GI Health and Wellness. Dr. Mark Taramina, he was going to be a guest on the show today. We were going to talk about Joe Biden's cancer and all that, but so many people have heeded our call to get the colonoscopy that the guy can't get an hour off to be on the show with us.
I know.
He's got them stacked up like cordwood over there, which is good because these are people that we've talked about, 45 is the new 50, who are getting that colonoscopy. And you know what? It could save your life because if we catch colon cancer early, just like prostate cancer, if you catch it early, you can treat it. If you don't, if you let it fester and grow, you end up with stage 4 cancer at some point. And they really can't do a lot about that when you get to that with colon cancer. But Dr. Mark Taramina and his staff are ready to fit you into the schedule. He'll fit you in before he fits me in. That's the way it works, right? He'll do the colonoscopy before he'll come on the podcast. Get an appointment, 816-836-2200. He's on the web at midwestgihealth.com. And remember, we've said for a long time, if you're 50 years old and haven't had your colonoscopy, get it done. With the cancer rates going where they are, 45 is indeed the new 50. 65 is still the old 65, at least in terms of Medicare. What's going to come out of this big, beautiful bill that we're going to talk about in a minute? I don't know. They're talking about, I guess in the bill, they want to kick some people off Medicaid, people who've been sitting on their ass playing video games, munching on bonbons. Go get a job. We don't need to be paying for your Medicaid. Will that even stand? I'm not very optimistic. But Medicare is something that people who are getting close to 65 kind of plan for, especially if you work where I work and you have crappy insurance. Do you have the crappy insurance that we have?
I am not on the company insurance.
Yeah.
It was not to peel back the onion too much, but it was going to be like $1,300 a month for my whole family. So.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of people stay in their job until their mid-60s, because they're waiting for Medicare. And, that's where I am right now at 61. I'm waiting for Medicare, but it's not coming until 65. If 65 is coming for you and the rules are changing constantly, don't you need an expert on your side? And that's our pal Kirk Doris at MedicareSimplifiedKC.com. You can reach him for an appointment at 816-701-6661. Go to him. He'll come to you. He'll explain it all. Which part do you need? Do you need an additional plan to go along with it? Are there gaps that they need to fill in? He's got over 30 years experience with Medicare. He's helped thousands of folks in the Kansas City area, and he's ready to help you too. 816-701-6661 on the web at MedicareSimplifiedKC.com. I'm kind of with Elon Musk on this big, beautiful bill thing. I'm watching it go through the sausage, and what gets me, Kurt, is I get my hopes up, right? And I have my hopes up for, the entire time that I knew that there was no way that Joe Biden was going to beat Donald Trump. And then I knew there was no way Kamala Harris was going to beat Donald Trump. So we had this one moment in time where we were going to get the House, the Senate, and the White House. And for the love of God, something was finally going to get done.
Yeah. So much for that, huh?
Are you there too?
Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways I am. I think he's still better than the alternative, but pretty disappointed in a lot of ways. The spending, the draining the swamp is not really happening. We're not getting anything on the Epstein files.
Well, they came out on that. Both Kash Patel and Bongino said that he killed himself. These are people we trust, right?
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's the whole thing is really fishy.
So Elon basically rips it. In fact, let's go ahead and roll that video.
Okay.
The split between Elon Musk and President Trump appears to be deepening. Musk taking to social media today, blasting the sweeping legislative package that Trump is trying to usher through Congress. In a post on X, Musk wrote, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." It comes a week after Musk left the White House to return to his private companies. During a joint press conference in the Oval Office on Friday, Trump and Musk portrayed a friendly farewell in a political relationship that would continue. But Musk has been increasingly critical of Trump's signature legislation, being called the Big Beautiful Bill. It includes tax cuts, increased military and border security spending, as well as cuts to Medicaid. Some fiscal conservatives have been skeptical of the legislation over its spending levels and impact on the national debt. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked about the growing split between Trump and Musk during her White House press briefing this afternoon.
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
A falling out between the president and the richest man in the world could reverberate across national politics. Musk spent more than $250 million on Trump's 2024 presidential campaign, and his deep pockets have the potential to have a big impact on next year's midterm elections.
Democrats are coming out saying, wow, I saw Schumer. I actually agree with Elon Musk. No, you don't, because you want to spend even more money. Yeah. Elon's pissed because it doesn't cut enough.
Right. They just want to spend all the money on different things. They want to spend it on social programs and the like, instead of what Trump wants to spend it on.
CBO has scored this thing as adding $2 trillion to the deficit. The deficit right now is $2 trillion. So are we going to run a $4 trillion deficit?
Guess so.
Reagan was famous for saying, I'd rather take half a loaf than not get anything at all. So maybe Trump just needs to stop calling this thing the Big Beautiful Bill and say, hey, I'm solidifying the tax cuts. You're getting a tax cut. That's the most important thing, because they're not cutting government. They're not cutting spending.
And he's also leaning into the thing that we've talked about so much, which is these omnibus massive bills.
Right.
Like, he's not even hiding it. He's calling it the Big Beautiful Bill. Like, he's advertising the fact that it's this massive spending bill instead of just taking one thing at a time. If you want to extend the tax cuts, put a bill on the floor of the House for that, and then push it through. You know, if you want to increase funding for XYZ, for the military, something like that, then put it through. You know, let's do things one at a time, and we would be able to actually comprehend it and support it or not support it. But stuff like this is just impossible to sift through, you know?
I don't know, man. I'm to the point of just giving up on this because, again, it doesn't matter. You put the Democrats back in there, they're just going to push the gas down even further. We've talked about that. They're going toward the cliff at light speed. Republicans are happy to do it at the speed limit, but the destination is the same. And it's not me that's going to have to worry about it. It's not you that's going to have to worry about it. Those little kids you got downstairs, their great-grandchildren are going to inherit this massive debt.
Yeah, I mean,
and how big will it get?
They directly will have to face the consequences of this.
In fact, that's a great place to put this because George Will, the great conservative mind of this country, I love this clip. Play it all the way through his 2011 prediction on where we would be today because he was right on it.
Is that this one here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, George Will, News Nation senior political contributor, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist. I will quote to you one of your favorite quotes from Ernest Hemingway. I think you know where I am going with this. In The Sun Also Rises, how did you go bankrupt? 2 ways, gradually, then suddenly. Are we at the suddenly time frame yet?
Not yet, and that's the trouble, is that the storm clouds are still way on the horizon, no larger than a man's hand, but they're coming. This is the most predictable crisis in American history. Leland, what's terrifying in Washington isn't the discord about which we hear so much. It's the consensus. It stretches from Elizabeth Warren on the left to Ted Cruz on the right, and it is this. We should run enormous deficits, budget deficits. $2 trillion a year is now the new normal. Enormous deficits at every point in the business cycle with 2% growth. At more than full employment, which we are now. There are about 6 million unfilled jobs, less than that unemployed. That's what's terrifying.
Think about the American family. In 2011, the average American family's share of the national debt was, we will put up on the screen, $45,000. Today, it is $107,000 per citizen. For the rest of America, and a lot of it, that is quite happy with what Donald Trump is doing and feel as though they are now heard and that finally that there is a chance for them to get a good paying job and have respect and on and on. What is the way to convince them that this matters?
Tell them, first of all, it's going to require higher interest rates to draw people into the auctions of the Treasury bills to finance this as we borrow the money.
So higher home,
higher auto loans,
higher credit cards.
Everything goes up. So they're going to pay there. Tell them also that you just used the figure $3.8 trillion added to the debt in 10 years, which is the official responsible sum. But what they're counting on is trillions of dollars of tax revenue loss expiring after 4 years. Everyone knows those provisions will be renewed. So the real number is $5.2 trillion that they're adding to this.
Well, a trillion there. It doesn't seem as though they care much. To me, this is such a lost opportunity. Donald Trump came with a mandate, a once-in-a-generation type of Republican takeover, and could have reformed entitlements, something that you have been talking about, raising the retirement age on Social Security, putting some restrictions on Medicare, work requirements on Medicaid. You've been talking about this going all the way back to, well, the 1990s, but here's a clip from 2011.
You have to ask yourself this. Given that in the year 2020, 9 years from now, and this is the plan, this is not worst case analysis, this is the plan based on rosy assumptions, we will be paying more on interest, more that is on debt service. We will be borrowing money to pay the interest on the funds we've borrowed before. We will be paying more on debt service than we will on defense.
Bingo.
We keep paying more and more on debt service.
You can pull that off now. That's exactly the point, though. I mean, if you look at the debt clock, it shows you that we're paying $1 trillion on interest on the debt and $900 billion on defense. So he nailed it in 2011. And the things he's talking about, that's real. I mean, you talk about, we have some of our keyboard warriors who say, oh, you just want the rich to do this. You want the rich to be okay and all that. It's not the rich people who go out and get car loans. It's not the rich people who go out and get mortgages. Those interest rates are going to be high. Think about where credit cards are now. Have you seen credit card interest rates?
Yeah.
30%. And they're going to go up from there. And then you've got to add interest to get anybody to be interested in buying American debt. And then will we be the standard if we've got $100 trillion debt? I don't know.
I doubt it.
That's enormous money.
And the BRICS nations are counting on it. They're counting on the American dollar being worthless so that they can go back to the gold standard or adopt the UN or another currency as the reserve currency for those nations, and then inevitably for the world. So people just have no foresight with this. And I think the interviewer made a really good point too, because he was like, well, what's $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting the way that he said that, because it's true. Like the phrase $1 trillion, it's thrown around so much, and we have no concept of like how much money that actually is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like such a foreign thing that people hear $1 trillion, $2 trillion, and they don't like flinch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's a problem.
George Will has always been somebody on talking about entitlement reform, and Social Security is obviously the big one. And it's going to happen. I mean, somebody's got to they've got to be the adult in the room and have some balls here and say, okay, and I don't like this because I'm approaching that, but at some point you're going to have to raise the retirement age even further. And they already started taxing the benefits. And it was interesting. Somebody pointed this out to me, that Social Security was not taxed at all until 1983. Joe Biden was one of the sponsors of the bill to tax Social Security, and Ronald Reagan signed it. So they both have this on their hands.
Yeah.
We're going to have more conversations like that. You can't flinch when we tell, able-bodied people, you can't sit home and get Medicaid. We need you. As he said, there's 6 million open jobs right now, and we got people that we're paying to sit on their ass. That's not right. So these are the things that we're going to have to find a way to reform, or there is a cliff coming that your great-grandchildren are going to have to deal with.
Like I said, I mean, it could be my kids or my grandkids, or even me, by the time I'm of retirement age. I mean, it's changing the whole landscape of savings and retirement. Like I think it's partly cultural, but the idea of retirement is gone. In my opinion, like the idea that you hit 65, you cash in your 401k or your retirement, and then you set sail, you get an RV and you travel the world or whatever, and you don't work another day for the rest of your life. That's just not going to happen. And it's partly because of the nature of work. People do freelance work, they do part-time work, they have passion projects that they can do to make money. A lot of people feel like work is more fulfilling. As if it's not like manual labor or something like that. People want to keep working and keep making money. But it's also like, you can't just count on your 401k. You can't just count on your pension. Those things are not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed that your 401k is going to be what you think it's going to be, because of the inflation of the US dollar, because of the value of the US dollar, because of the national debt, because of all these things. You need to have assets. You need to have gold, real estate, Bitcoin, like all these things that are actually, Bitcoin's not tangible, but it's digital gold. It's a very similar type asset. So you need to be having these things that are going to actually accrue value, because if you're just putting your money in the market in the 401k or stuffing it away in your pillow, you're losing money in the long term. Maybe not with the 401k, because that could still pan out like it normally does, but just putting money into a savings account is losing you money, which has never happened before.
I bought into the market on April the 8th, which I never have luck like this, but that was the absolute bottom of this current market. And the market rebound from that is at a 30-year high.
Yeah.
I fell into that, with Mark Falter's advice. So, there are ways out there that you can do these kinds of things, and you're suggesting some of them. I don't have that in my portfolio. I I mean, I have real estate, my house, which is worth quite a bit of money, and I don't owe a whole lot on it. So that's good. I've also bought into a money market that pays about 4%. That's not bad. That's better than you're getting in a savings account.
Yeah, but it's still less than inflation.
Yeah.
And it's less than, like, especially the rate of inflation that we're seeing. If you're getting 3-4%, it's just not going to cut it. You know, and that's the reality of the.
Well, that's
the
why I married
situation
somebody
we're in.
younger than me, so she's going to work a whole lot longer than I'm going to work. That was a strategy. Yeah, don't tell her I said that. Plus, you have a lot of rooms in this house. So, at some point, maybe I could just come in here with my walker and, from down the hall.
There's a closet right behind you.
I could stay there. So there are strategies. You got to have a strategy, though. That's a great point on that. This moment in time to get anything done is fading. It really is. And I talked about this from the time Donald Trump got elected, and I really worried that he would have too many distractions, too many rabbit holes to go down, and that's proven to be true. There's rabbit holes everywhere that he goes down. 515, that's the day count. 515 until the midterms, and really not even that, because the campaign for the midterm starts in January. The only good news that we have right now is that the Democrat Party is completely lost.
Yeah.
If they had a clue, we'd be in trouble, and they don't.
We would have been in trouble in the election already.
Yeah.
If they had somebody competent to put up. And like with Trump, one more thing, if you don't mind on that too, it's kind of like his best and worst quality is that he's not ideological. It's his best quality because he is not tied to a particular ideology. If something, strays away from like the Republican Party or the base, that's like good, like not funding Ukraine, not funding Israel, like those kind of things. He not saying that he's doing that, but he could do something like that because he's not an ideological like Republican. But it also means that he wants to please everyone he's in the room with. And we've talked about this before, and I think that's kind of what's happening here, is he is having all these people in his ear constantly, and he's like, oh, we're going to put together the most beautiful, the biggest bill anyone's ever seen, And he's not like coming at it from an ideological perspective. He's coming at it from, oh, well, all these people are telling me all these things, and I want to please them. I want to please the American people. I want to look good. And that's where we're at. The
news is coming at a dizzying pace. I mean, just driving here, the Supreme Court's handing out their last decisions, and he's winning at the Supreme Court. And there were 9-0 decisions today. One of them in particular, I can't remember the facts of the case, but it was written by Ketanji. She wrote the majority opinion. And I'm like, wow, because it was a conservative who had sued. So
reverse discrimination case?
Yeah, the reverse discrimination case. She wrote the majority opinion on that. Kagan wrote another majority opinion. So, he's winning at the Supreme Court. So that's important to keep in mind, too.
Yeah, from USA Today, the Supreme Court agreed on June 5th that a worker faced a higher hurdle to sue her employer as a straight woman than if she'd been gay. The unanimous decision, which landed amid a national backlash against diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, could trigger a wave of, quote, reverse discrimination lawsuits.
Let's hear it for the straight white people. Oh, my God. Right?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't say she's white. It says as a straight woman. So.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe. All right. There could be that. But what does this do for the rainbow flag for June?
I know, during Pride Month of all things. The nerve.
Month, seriously. All right. Well, he doesn't have the rainbow in his box of Crayolas, even though he's a Raiders fan. Red is his color. We're talking about theredcarpetlender.com. That is my friend Chad Taylor. And as rates are all over the place, and again, with the news coming at a dizzying pace, Donald Trump had a 90-minute phone call with the president of China today. And he came out of that saying, I feel really good about it. So the market will probably be sky high today. At some point, hopefully we'll get to an even keel here, but with rates bouncing all over the place, you need theredcarpetlender.com because Chad will get you the best rate that you qualify for. He'll work with you. And remember, there's no upfront hard credit hit to see if you can get approved for a home loan. Free appraisals for first-time home buyers, police, fire, school district employees too. You don't have to have perfect credit. He can go as low as 580. You don't need 20% down. He blows away all of the things that you're hearing about, the old wives' tale. details about the mortgage. He's licensed in Missouri and Kansas. He did the mortgage on my house. He'll take care of you on yours. He'll work with you. And sometimes it's not just about buying a house. Sometimes your mortgage can help get you out of a hole that you've dug, maybe through no fault of your own. Just get with Chad Taylor. Again, he'll come see you or you go see him. And the first place to start is on his website, theredcarpetlender.com. And then when you get the loan and you qualified for a certain amount, then go house shopping. That makes Michael Schroer's job that much easier. He's a broker with RE/MAX Elite in Lee's Summit. He is an expert at whatever stage in life you are in. If you're going from an apartment to your first home, maybe you're getting a bigger home because you've added on more kids. Maybe the kids are finally leaving you and you're an empty nester. Now you want to downsize. You got a piece of property you want to build something on. Michael Schroer is your connection for that. RE/MAX Elite in Lee's Summit is where he brokers out of. You can find him at 816-373-8400. He is a cell phone too. I'll give you that, 816-520-9342. If you're in the market selling that home or buying your next one, Michael Schroer, S-C-H-R-O-E-R, Schroer. That's the guy that you need to talk to. He'll take care of you. Tremendous people. I'll just throw the drop in there.
Tremendous people.
So you were waiting for it.
I was waiting for it.
It's like Pavlovian training.
No, that's fine. So the Democrats have no footing. I mean, they continue to focus on Orange Man bad. And some of my friends on the left, that's all they've got. I mean, my God, we have serious problems going on right here. Let's find a solution to it. Eric Swalwell, the guy who put his dinky into, a Chinese spy. I mean, how does he have any credibility with anybody?
That's a good question.
People ask me this all the time. AOC.
And he farted on TV. Let's not forget that.
I may have farted once or twice on the podcast, but I tried to keep it low so it didn't get on the audio. People ask me, how does AOC get reelected? How do these people have any credibility whatsoever? And I don't know, other than they live in deep blue districts and people just go in and that's the name we know. That's what we're going to go with. That's how Emmanuel Cleaver gets reelected every time, right? Okay, so Eric Swalwell, and again, they want to appeal to real men. I know he's been hanging out in the gym there at the Capitol, and he's been dealing with people on the treadmill who know the answers to all the problems. But he released this video, and I, honest to God, don't know what it means. Maybe you can translate it.
Let's check it out.
Hey, Congressman.
Trying to help you?
What the fuck is up with Trump always chickening out on tariffs?
So he's eating a taco.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. What the hell? What does that even mean?
I don't get it.
Yeah, he released it on TikTok, which of course is run by the Communist Chinese Party, where he was like doinking a spy. I don't know. Maybe somebody knows. I don't know what it means. Part of their attempt to bring men back. They did drop an F-bomb in it, because that's how real men talk.
Yep.
What would real man say?
I'm a real man. And I'm a real man. I eat Taco Bell every day for lunch. I cheat on my wife with a Chinese spy. I'm a real man. I put pride flags in my bio.
Well, and of course, they got the ferocious VP candidate, Tim Walz, who is running for president. He was down in South Carolina. He was hanging out with Clyburn. Clyburn's the guy who anointed Joe Biden. When they had that cast of clowns that was running for the nomination against Trump, he's the one who anointed Joe Biden with some strings. You will have a black female VP. You will appoint a black female Supreme Court justice. Those were the strings attached. So Tim Walz is down there. He's hanging out with him. I guess he has a big cookout or something. And then he makes a speech down in South Carolina. And Tim Walz is ferocious.
Yeah, I got to pull up the clip.
Ferocious.
You got to keep doing that.
Got to get the hands going. I'm just ferocious. I mean, if anybody were going to play Richard Simmons in the biopic, I would nominate Tim Walz. I think
he would be good for it.
He's got it. He's got it down.
All right, here we go.
Maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more
Come
fierce.
on, bring it.
Because we have to ferociously push back on this. And again, I'll speak to my teacher colleagues in here. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the out of him back. Damn it, we should be able to have some fun and be joyful.
Yeah, he's ferocious. He's swearing, you know, because that's important.
Yeah, I don't get that either, man. I'm trying to do that less. I'm a potty mouth, so I'm trying to get that in check. But it's like that's not adding to your argument. You know?
Should we have a swear jar on the podcast? I'll be
mean,
broke by the end of it because I know me. I just know who I am. That's just my language. I mean, I'm not making that up. That's just how I talk. I mean, I've been in radio for 45 years.
That's how guys talk to each other.
As real men.
You know
I'm a
what
real
movie that's
man
from?
too. They're not serious. And there's something that's out there, that's hanging out there that hasn't been talked about a whole lot when I think they're going to be serious. Because you think Gavin Newsom is going to be the nominee. I don't think so. I think the next time, if the Democrats are going to be successful, they've got to run to the center. They've got to find their Bill Clinton in 2028. And the closest thing that they've got to Bill Clinton is not Gavin Newsom. It's Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro ran away from the 2024 election like a man on fire. I think he saw that dumpster fire for exactly what it was. Whether it was Kamala Harris didn't want to be outshined by Josh Shapiro because he's a really smart guy, or Shapiro looked at that and said, there's no way. Shapiro's running Pennsylvania, which is a key state that either party is going to need. And if he gets in that race, that's when I know that they're going to be serious.
Yeah. Or Gavin Newsom.
I don't think that, because they're so far left in California, they got to run away from that next time, or they're not going to win.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, but people have short attention spans. We already forgot about everything that happened during COVID, and all the riots and everything like that, you know, are mostly out of people's memories. And that's like the main ding against California, plus all the homelessness and everything. But he's too talented.
You think he's slick? I get that.
Yeah, he's a talented politician. He's got a real shot.
But J.D. Vance is pretty slick too. He's a pretty smart guy and can speak. Marco Rubio, I don't know who the nominee is going to be in 2028, but it's not going to be Donald Trump. It's going to be somebody who's very focused, very polished, and can take that kind of person on. I just think it's going to be Josh Shapiro. I could be wrong, but I think it is. And I don't think politics comes down to what color uniform you're wearing, red versus blue. And I go back to the last time that we did any kind of fiscally responsible government was Bill Clinton working with Newt Gingrich. It was a mixed government. And it was after Bill Clinton got his ass handed to him in the 1994 midterm. Bill Clinton came in just like any other Democrat, wanting to grow government, big government, and all that. And he got his ass handed to him in the midterm. And he's a smart enough politician that he tacked back to the center. And he said, "Okay, Newt, let's have a talk." And they reformed government. I mean, at that point, we had a surplus. When's the last time we had a surplus in this country? I can tell you, 1996 was the last time we had a surplus. So maybe that's what it takes. I don't know. But they're nowhere near that right now. All they got right now is Orange Man bad. Their hair's on fire every time Donald Trump opens his mouth. He's the puppet master. All he's got to do is pull this string, and he gets this reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, all he has to do is go on Twitter and just tweet something silly.
I know, and their hair's on fire. I mean, you know, their hair was on fire about the Army spending $45 million for a parade because it happens to fall on Donald Trump's birthday. His birthday also happens to be Flag Day. So should we not celebrate Flag Day? Should we not celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Army? And then I had a thought, $45 million. And I remember something because I got a decent memory, I think. And it seemed to me that when they were going all woke, they were going to change all the names of the Army bases that were named after Confederate generals. Because who even knew that Fort Hood was named after a Confederate general? I don't know. It's been named that for a very long time. So they dug all this crap up, and they changed the name of, 9 Army bases? I think it was 9.
Yeah. Fort Bragg.
Yeah.
And
I know
2
Hood.
Navy ships and upward of 1,000 other items located on America's Navy installation.
They spent $62.5 million to make our bases more woke and get rid of those Confederate names. And they have the balls to say the Army can't spend $45 million for a parade?
Yeah. I'm okay with it if they put this in the parade.
Well, this is why you got to watch it on YouTube, because you're missing all these wonderful images. A nice float with Donald Trump's image on it. Yeah.
Or just like a big parade balloon.
Yeah, sure. Big orange one, right? The big orange balloon.
The biggest, most beautiful parade balloon you've ever seen.
Yeah. So again, my advice to the other side, I think you should tack back toward the middle and have some solutions other than Orange Man bad. What they're banking on is that they're going to win the House back and they're going to impeach Donald Trump again. And I don't think the country's there. The country just wants you to get on the road to sanity, right? There you go. Oh, there we go. There's the big balloon. You're having way too much fun today.
Grok is great, man. I love people use other AI stuff too, but Grok is nice and convenient. Yeah. So
I use AI on the morning show at KF now, making song parodies. Mm-hmm. Today, as we're recording this, is National Vegan Burger Day, Veggie Burger Day, which I'm all in on, right? Oh,
yeah, great.
And it's also National Ketchup Day. So I went to my AI song parody thing, and I put in Veggie Burger Day and put ketchup on it and make fun of it. And it came out with this song that was pretty hysterical that tied those two things together.
What do you use for it?
MusicHero.ai.
Okay.
I think is the deal. And it's free. You can use it for everybody who's listening. You can use MusicHero.ai and you can have a free song every day. Just it's fun to play with. It gives you 199 words to describe what you want, and then it shoots out songs. Because I'm using it a lot on the KFKF morning show, I paid the $100 to have unlimited for the entire year, and I'm just having a ball with it. So there's your AI plug, and they're not even paying me to do it. Royal Roofing and Solar is paying me to talk about roofs. And in a week where we had an EF1 tornado that went through eastern Jackson County, you might want to check your roof. You might have some damage. You might have some problems up there. Get Austin Watterson and his team on your roof checking it out. Austin and Buffy Watterson. It's a family-owned company, and they are the ones who are going to be accountable after the fact. These roofers that go around neighborhoods and say, "Hey, I was up on your roof. I think you got a problem." I did that one time, and that was a major mistake because they made all kinds of mistakes, and I had to have it fixed. With Royal Roofing and Solar, you've got a local company. You just call up Austin and say, "Hey, I need you to look at this," and they'll do it. They'll also work with your insurance company, so maybe you got a free roof coming. That's like winning the lottery. 816-540-7057, roofedbyroyal.com. They did the roof on my house. I love it, and they'll do the same thing for you. And again, accountability is the key. Somebody you can trust is the key, and I trust Austin Watterson. 816-540-7057. Somebody else I trust is Jim Dingman. Marine, good guy. Owns a couple of locations of Fun House Pizza. He's in Lee's Summit on 50 Highway, Blue Springs on 7 Highway, and they got the best pizza in town. You like your toppings piled high? If you want to eat pizza like a real man, A real man doesn't eat veggie pizza. All the meats. But if you've got somebody who's not a real man, they'll make a veggie pizza for him. Cold drinks, great place to gather with your family and friends, whatever you got going on there. Fun House Pizza in 2 locations, 50 Highway Lee's Summit, 7 Highway Blue Springs. Go to their website, funhousepizza.com. Order what you want. Stop by and pick it up. They'll deliver. And as always, if you've got a kid, it's summertime now. Maybe they're playing video games, munching on pretzels or whatever. Get them off their butt. Jim Dingman will put them to work, and that'll be a great first job for them. Moving on. Guests versus citizens, legals versus illegals. There are a lot of people, I think, who are completely ignorant about the differences in those things. Do you get that sense?
Yeah. I mean, that's from the language control that the left has of calling them undocumented Americans, and then even within the quote unquote legal status, that is a lot. There's a lot of cloudiness in that too, because you have student visas, work visas, temporary status, all these different things, refugee status, whatever. So,
but those folks don't have the inherent rights that you and I have because we are citizens of the United States. And that's where the lines get blurred. In fact, I was listening to somebody who, I think she's the president of the New York City Council. She's running for mayor of New York. And I heard Eric and Gary play a cut from her last night talking about the sanctuary city status of New York City. And, they asked if she was going to continue that. And she kept using the word immigrants. We're a city of immigrants. Immigrants are our strength. Immigrants aren't the problem here, okay? Immigrants who've come here and done it the right way, they have the same rights that you and I have, right?
If they're citizens, yeah.
Immigrants that have come here and done it the right way and become naturalized citizens of the United States. We're not talking about that at all. We're talking about the people who came here illegally. They cut to the front of the line. And then you've got illegals that have done even worse than that. They have committed crimes. Take the illegal from Egypt who took aim with a homemade flamethrower at Jews who were out there having a vigil over the hostages being held by Hamas. Have you seen the video of this? The guy set himself on fire.
Yeah, I haven't seen that part of the video.
Yeah.
There's a video that we can play that is not that, which it's just him like shirtless running around.
Well, it's shirtless because he burned his shirt off.
Oh, really?
The flamethrower went back on him. And then he had Molotov cocktails. He's planned this for a whole long time. And then our friends over at MSNBC, first of all, CNN was saying, we got to be very careful. We can't jump to conclusions here. Boy, they love to jump to conclusions when it suits them. But in this case, it's like, we can't jump to conclusions. And MSNBC, they were so giddy, Kurt, because they thought it was a white guy. Man, if they can get a white guy doing something, they're going to run with that every time. Of course, that was not the narrative. The guy's an illegal from Egypt.
Here he is with his shirt off.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's like some kind of gasoline or flammable.
Molotov cocktail.
Oh, right.
Yeah. The video I saw, though, that pack behind him was what he used as his homemade flamethrower, and it went backwards on him.
Oh, no.
So it burned the crap out of him.
Yikes.
Yeah. So,
you want to watch this MSNBC video?
Sure. Yeah. That makes the point.
As far as the investigation itself, we're still trying to verify and confirm some video, but it appears to show a significant portion of the incident as it happened. There's an individual that's taken into custody. He's a white male. Whether or not that's the person that police ultimately arrested and will ultimately charge in this crime, a bit of a question at this time, but that's just what we've seen so far.
Yeah. White guy.
Yeah. And, they'll always do that. They'll say, if it is a white guy, they'll say white man involved in attack. But if it's black or Hispanic or whatever, then they don't mention the race.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes. But then there's also this troubling trend that's been happening with some of the crime statistics. And it's really hard to find because they do a really good job of covering it up. But, specifically with Hispanics, but I've seen it with blacks as well. They'll put white in the race part of the FBI crime statistics. So here you can see just a couple examples of people that were booked and they have white under their race. And then there was another one of like an African migrant that had white under his race too. And that has to be intentional in my opinion. I mean, they're trying to skew the crime statistics because how it's coming out in reality is not looking good. So they want to, here's the other one. Unir Al-Zazalbal. White.
He's a white guy?
Yeah.
A very tan white guy.
Very tan white guy, yeah.
Maybe he's been hanging out in South Florida for a while. I don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, that's something to keep an eye on, too. And then in a lot of crime statistics, they'll couple together Hispanics and whites, or you'll see like white Hispanic as like a an ethnicity that they'll list.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all intentional. Statistics. What is the quote? Lies, damn lies, and statistics. So you can manipulate statistics however you want to get your point across, and they're certainly trying to do that.
Yeah. What is it? They tell you in law, if you're in court and you have the facts on your side, bang on the facts. If you have the law on your side, bang on the law. And if you don't have either, you bang on the table.
Yeah.
Just make the biggest stink that you can possibly make. Well, one of the other issues we have, you know, we've got Joe Biden opening the southern border. We know that. We saw that with our own eyes. And now Donald Trump's people are out there trying to clean up that mess. Then you've got another issue that they're going to have to crack down on, and that's people like this guy and his family who overstayed their visa by a year. People are getting here. They've got a visa to stay for a while, so you're okay to be here for that time unless you break the law like this guy did. But then you overstay it for a year. They got to go through and they got to clean all that stuff up too. Remember, there are rights for U.S. citizens in the Constitution and privileges for guests in this country. We have to really make a distinction between what's a right and what's a privilege, right? If you have a driver's license, is that a right?
No.
No, it's a privilege, which it can be removed from you. Okay, you have a right to carry a firearm, right? You have a Second Amendment right. That's not a privilege. That's a right.
Yeah,
there's a difference between these two things, and we really need to start talking about that, right? And to be clear, we need to be crystal clear on this. Donald Trump has not deported one U.S. citizen or legal immigrant. So stop conflating those things. You know, don't just throw out the word immigrant. We're talking about illegal. They've already committed one crime, and many of them have committed other crimes. And that's what ICE is out there trying to take care of. And, you know, what you've seen on television maybe is the ICE agents wearing masks. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Why in the world would they want to wear a mask?
Well, because they want to protect their identity against people that want to do them harm. People are going to come to their house and threaten them. They're going to threaten their families. They're going to, try and attack them. So
yeah. So the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, I couldn't believe he made this statement. We've got video on this. He actually went to the podium there in the House and threatened to dox these people. And what that means, in case you don't know what doxing means, the House Minority Leader threatened to give out the addresses and phone numbers and contact information for ICE agents who have stepped up and said, we'll help you, Donald Trump. We'll take out the trash and get those people out of our country. But we don't really want, drug dealers and people who traffic in humans and drugs. We don't want those people coming to our house and killing our families. So we're going to do it anonymously with a mask. Hakeem Jeffries is making that seem like a crime.
Thanks. Jeffries, you had said after Congresswoman McIver was, I think you said, physically accosted by ICE officials that you wanted them identified, the officials that accosted them. Have they been identified, and what do you expect from, or do you want the agents that were harassing Jerry Nadler's staffers in his district office also identified? What's the latest, or how are Democrats going to respond to the Jerry?
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will, of course, be identified. That, in fact, is the law. And we're going to make sure that the American people have the transparency necessary to hold people accountable when they're folks who cross the line here in America.
How have they crossed the line? Again, to be clear, Trump has not deported one citizen or legal immigrant in this country.
Yeah, and you brought up the thing with the overstaying the visas too, and it's interesting because that is a pretty significant number of people who are here illegally is people who have overstayed visas. So we really need to take a look at the visa program too, unless we are willing as a country to accept that people are going to have to go around and round up all these people who overstayed their visas and deport them, because that's not what's happening. The people have, it's the same thing with everything else. They get a court date 3 years in the future. They don't show up.
Right.
So unless we're willing to swallow the pill, the difficult pill that people are not going to like, that people are going to have to go, agents are going to have to go to their house and pick them up and deport them. Unless we're willing to do that, we need to really look at, okay, who are we letting in on these visas, with the understanding that people are abusing the system. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So,
well, and if you come here from a foreign country, let's say you're a college student and you have ideals that go against what this country stands for, and you foment that on the college campus, and those other students start, wreaking havoc and committing illegal acts, you got to go. You're here as a privilege, not as a right. You got to go if you do that. And that's something that Donald Trump is doing as well. But I just thought what Hakeem Jeffries did in that speech was just shameful.
Yeah, and I mean, he's obviously ignoring the ramifications of what he's suggesting. So what is he going to do to support those ICE agents once they are identified and attacked?
Yeah.
Is he gonna back them up? Is he gonna even say anything about it? Is he gonna offer them support or law enforcement protection or anything like that? Security?
What did his party do when Supreme Court justices had people outside their homes? When somebody was outside of Kavanaugh's house with a gun who was going to be there to take him out, were they doing any kind of protection for Supreme Court justices?
Yeah.
No, because it didn't fit the narrative.
Yeah, they downplayed it or just ignored it.
Yeah. All right. Well, to be continued on that. Meanwhile, if you've been in an accident and your car is fixable, there's one name I want you to know. And I know it very well because I've had the name for 61 years. Dale. It's real easy. D-A-L-E. It's a different Dale. It's Dale's Body Shop in Blue Springs. The original Dale's Collision Repair is on 40 Highway in Blue Springs. But he's been fixing cars all over the Kansas City metro for 37 years. They do it with, they'll get you back on the road looking showroom new, right? And he'll even restore cars. He loves to restore cars. He's got a bunch of them that he's restored, and we've shown you some of the videos of that. So if somebody's keyed your car, maybe it doesn't have to be hauled there by a wrecker, and you want the paint to match. You want original factory parts in that car. You need Dale. Dale's Body Shop in Blue Springs, the one and only. Taking care of customers and taking care of you. And his really good friend in Blue Springs is also my insurance agent, Bob Watson, who brings you a large portion of this podcast, and we appreciate him. 7th and Main in Blue Springs, 816-229-7878 for auto, home, life, commercial insurance, your pontoon boat. He's licensed on both sides of the state, and he's been at it a while. 51 years as a State Farm agent. Bundle your home and car insurance. You'll save even more. But the bottom line is, when the rubber hits the road and you've got a problem, you've got somebody on your side with a great staff who will take care of you. I've been in enough wrecks and had enough losses I've had to report that I know what you go through when you go with Bob Watson and when you get your car fixed with Dale's Body Shop. Two really great folks, and we enjoy having them here on the podcast.
I made an AI song.
Oh, yeah? Just while we were doing this? On my program? MusicHero.ai?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So if it sucks, I can cut it out. But the prompt is generate a patriotic song based on Proud to be an American, but about Eric Swalwell being proud to sleep with a Chinese spy.
Did it let you do that?
It made the song.
Okay, because I put Reba McEntire in one and it kicked it out, said you couldn't use a famous person.
Oh, gotcha.
So let's see if they did it.
Okay.
It's very nice.
I met you in a shadowed glow. Your smile sparked, your eyes did show a secret world I couldn't deny, caught up with a whisper, we flew so high. I'm proud to be the one.
No, it's not good.
It's not good. It gives you two versions too.
Yeah, it's not giving me anything about
Yeah.
Generate a patriotic.
Well, you only get one for free.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. So you've used your freebie there. That's why I went ahead and paid the $100, and now I have unlimited. So whenever it throws out something, I even put my own name in for something we were doing, and it came out Dolly. And I'm like, let's try this again. And, the second try, it got it. So,
well, I'll leave that in. That was a little bit underwhelming, but
well, for you people who want to have fun with it or listen to really how it sounds when it's really good, listen to my show on KFKF. I did one this week for the bowling thing we're going to do on Saturday at Gladstone Bowl. By the way, if you get this before Saturday, that starts at 10 a.m. on this Saturday. We're raising money for St. Jude. I did one for that. I did, like I told you, the one this morning for veggie burger / ketchup day. Just if something enters my mind and I don't have access to it on my own prep stuff, I just make my own now. It's kind of fun. It's using AI as a tool, not something that you should be scared of. I often have to separate entertainment from politics, because if I didn't do that, Kurt, I wouldn't watch a lot of TV. I wouldn't watch any movies, because there's a lot of actors I love to watch on television. Bryan Cranston is one of those. I mean, I loved him in Breaking Bad. But in politics, like a lot of the folks who act, he's an idiot. He just doesn't understand. So I pulled this little clip. This was an interview he did with Chris Wallace. I guess Wallace is on CNN now. He was on Fox for a long time.
Yeah.
But very liberal. So roll that clip.
When I see the Make America Great Again, my comment is, do you accept that could possibly be construed as a racist remark? And most people, a lot of people go, how could that be racist? Make America great again? I said, so just ask yourself from an African-American experience, when was it ever great in America for the African-American? When was it great?
Well, okay.
So
let's get into that, because there's nothing like a rich white liberal to tell us how black people feel. I would think if I were black, I would be offended that he was going to tell me how I can feel.
They're really hanging on Bryan Cranston's every word.
Right. So was America great when Republicans freed black slaves? Was that a great moment in American history? Was it great when Republicans delivered votes in the Senate that passed civil rights legislation? That would have never happened without Republicans in the Senate. Was it great in 2008 when the first black man was elected president? Would that be a great moment from a black perspective? I don't know. I mean, he wants to take it back to riots and Jim Crow and slavery and all that. I could go on. But I know what Make America Great Again means to me. Do you know what it means to you?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was like, let's stop letting the trash from the world and all of their prisons come through our southern border. It was great when we weren't doing that, right? Mm-hmm. It was great at a time when we had fiscal sanity. I'd like to light a candle and hold out hope that we'll get there again. So when I think about it, I don't think about race. I think about times in my life that were really great as an American that I'd like to get back to. It doesn't mean that I want to go back to Jim Crow and separate but equal and all that stuff. I don't think about it that way.
He kind of gives away the game in his statement there too, because he says, when I say to most people, don't you think Make America Great Again could be racist? They say, what? No. What are you talking about? It's like, yeah. Nobody
sell
thinks
me
that
on
way.
it. It's probably racist. Sell me on it.
Nobody thinks that way, dude. You're just being an elitist, basically.
Could we change the acronym to MAG? Make America Great.
Yeah.
What could possibly be wrong with that?
Make America great for once.
There you go. That may be the way to look at it. So with all of that, we thank you for being here on the podcast. It means a lot to us. Spread the word. We'd love to have you in the audience as a subscriber. That's free anywhere you get the podcast. Until next time, from the Raytown Studios, this is Dale Carter's America.
The views expressed on Dale Carter's America are Dale's and Kurt Wheeler's. They do not necessarily reflect the views of KFKF or Steel City Media. Comments can be sent to dalecartersamerica@gmail.com. Check back for weekly episodes. Subscribe, spread the word, and give us a 5-star review. Thanks for being a part of Dale Carter's America.